Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone doing today? How's everyone doing today? Hope you all slept very, very, very well. Or are about to go to sleep. And plan on sleeping well. First off, thank you, Vanya, for getting first. Good morning, my head moderator. Good morning, Firehawk. Good morning, Anya. Good morning, Dar. Good morning, Berry Blue. Good morning, Moss Dwarf. Good morning, Cat. And Firehawk and Savvy and Tyga. I think I said thank you for getting second, Firehawk. And thank you for third on, yeah, but I can't remember now. Good morning, Savviati. Good morning, Pink. Hope your bus is going well. And yeah, good morning, everybody. How's everybody been? Hope you've all been sleeping well, or I hope none of you are going to admit to me that you don't ever sleep and that you stay up extra late just to, come visit the stream. Because that would be insane. You better not be staying up too late. Oh. I'm sorry for a small pop-up blocking your window door. Interesting. So my leg was mostly held, but it went out, and my ankle twisted. I'm sorry to hear that. That's awful. That sounds very awful. I hope things start going better for you. You wake up early. Moss Dwarf, you should get more sleep. Don't wake up early. You need more than 4 hours of sleep. You all need more sleep. Morning walks are nice. Morning walks are very nice. Oh my god. Okay. Well, sorry, Chad. I wanted to check my DMs real quick on Discord, and I had a friend that said, hey, I need to ask you something when I was supposed to be up at 3, and they didn't ask me the question. So I'm like, okay, let me wait until I'm up. Let me see what they're going to ask. Do you know what they asked me, chat? They asked me, if I was a guy, do you think I'd have a small dick or a big dick? That is the first thing they wanted to know the second I woke up. Not me, though. No, not me. Also, what does working out have to do with having a. You know that doesn't change anything, right? I could work out all I want. It's not going to change anything. Anyways, not me. They were talking about them because they're a lady. Mm. Anyways, lovely chat. I will probably be increasing the price of a lot of the redeems. Because as Neeks did mention, as we get more people, things are going to get less special. And so I want to make sure that and they're special when they happen. Hmm. Uh-huh. And Neeks had a good point. Neeks did have a good point. Chat, 1 second. I will be right back. Give me just a second here. Sorry. How many of you know what xylem husks are, chat? They are a thing used for, a lot of like, if you mix them with water, they'll make like a paste and they can be used as a binder as a replacement for eggs. But they also are used in like fiber powders to increase people's fiber intake. Well, usually when you put them in a drink or something, you'll mix them up, you'll let it sit for a bit, you'll drink the drink pretty quickly. If you let the drink sit overnight, though, it makes a horrendous gelatinous glob. I forgot about that fact. And so instead of having water sitting at the desk, I had a horrible gelatinous blob. So, yeah. I was like trying to pour out water from my bottle into a cup and it would keep stopping, and then I remembered. And so now I have real water that I can drink and feel good about myself. Okay, chat, so it is time. Let's see, what are we gonna do today? What are we going to do today? Honestly, I'm still feeling Minecraft. I'm still feeling Minecraft. I love Minecraft. It has been very, very. Good morning, Carmia. They called you Julanis Blom. Prefer your vibrant bean form. Honestly, very smart. Crime. We're not committing crime this morning, chat. We're not committing. We might commit a little crime this morning, chat. Just a little crime. A little crime for. As a treat. Vanya, you're such a good girl. Such a good raccoon. And a good mod. So many good. So much good. Minecraft is the best morning game. I've been enjoying it a lot. Good morning there. How you doing? I see your little head peeky emote. Mm-hmm. Yes, you're a great wall muncher. You be munching the walls. You be munching the walls. Hardcore wall munching action. How am I doing this morning? I'm EP. I am EP. I wish to eat more. Chad, I am so EP that when I woke up this morning, I set a death metal playlist and I slept through it. That's why I started stream about 4 minutes late. Technically 7 minutes late. Even stream now? Okay. No, it's just the right time. Good morning, little gremlin. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good, actually, I'm actually rather curious in something. Is that what you're wanting? Needs more bass. Nah. Too bad, not gonna happen. Good luck though, finding what you're looking for. I believe you find it out there. Alright, Minecraft. But good morning, little gremlin. How are you doing? Thank you for those rains you've given me before, by the way. You have a very, very lovely community. And I have enjoyed your stream when I came by. Plus, I appreciated the little tips for effects that you can do with your V2 model. It's way too early. What did you redeem, Haika? If Gene said redeem gonna be expensively not gonna redeem fan service early. I mean, I will be adding some, trigger sound, little sniffers and all that other stuff that will be cheaper. But I will be increasing the longer ones. Someone's reading the fic. Oh no, that's a problem. I can't believe somebody's reading that fic. No, not again, chat. Which one of you didn't shower yet? Who stayed up all night and has gaming sweats? I know it's one of you. No. You've only just started the night. I know. Hey, don't look at that. Don't look at that. That's a lie. No one's a lie. Well, apparently, if I mumble and talk like this, that also works for some. My life is spiraling and I got a game to not fall apart. But, Goose, what do you mean your life is spiraling? By the way, Goose, are you part of the Discord? What's your name on the Discord? Exactly, Shiny. Take a little shower. Relax. Oh, wow. You know, sometimes, chat, I'm not the smartest, and other times, chat, I'm still not the smartest. Hey, good morning, Dragon. 1 second, let me... Good morning, thank you for the rain. How you doing today? And what were you doing? Can we get an exclamation point shout out? You do drugs for fun. Hey, me too, sweetie, me too. Legal ones, though, don't you worry. Oh, I get that. You go shower later, okay. Genshin, how was Genshin? Did you have a good time? Oh, today I learned that moss-covered cobblestone is not usable for making a pick. That's so disappointing. A little deeper, that's the morning. In the morning it gets just a little deeper, and I'm also not as excited. My voice gets a lot higher pitched when I'm excited. You should see me when I get really excited. Nothing be going falsetto. In the right time, I'd be sounding like Mickey Mouse. Really? Shower an hour before bed? That sounds lovely, actually. I might start doing that. I just don't want to shower too much, you know, Chad? Maybe I'll start my morning with a cold shower to keep my skin feeling tight and fresh. And then, in the evenings, take a warm shower. I start off with warm showers, but I used to have my hair dyed And every time I would wash it, it would feel like more hair dye would leave my head. And so I would do colder water showers because it felt like less hair dye left. And eventually I got used to doing cold showers. It also made my hair feel nicer. No, no, I totally understand that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was just a thing also because like I was doing like very, very like dyed. Like I had my hair bleached to almost white. I looked like Draco Malfoy. And then then I had it dyed a color that like the texture of my hair felt wrong underneath warm water, but it felt good underneath cold. And I found out that my hair will stay healthier longer if I use cold water. Yeah, exactly, Shani. I mean, I understand everyone has their own feelings about showers. Oh, it used to be. Now only my money piece partially is dyed. I need to get it redone. For me, it's Mm, what was I gonna say? I'll probably get it redyed though. I like having colored hair. Thank you for the lurk. You're gonna get it very, very wrong, but I think it'd be funny. Good morning, Kogi. So feel free to go ahead and try. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, right. So I'm doing great. How are you doing? What I was thinking about is that talking about how showers are. For me, showers have always been a place of like healing. If I feel sick, my tummy was upset, or I got too stressed, I would take a warm shower until I felt better. But my ex had an issue with textures and any water that stood for any period of time, and so they would have to wear shoes, water shoes, to get into the shower. And it was like one of the most taxing things in the world for them to just take the showers. I still, took showers very regularly and took very good care of themselves and their skin, much better than I ever have. But I know that showers were the least relaxing thing to them. Meanwhile, for me, I could stand in a shower for hours and just be happy. Moss, go for it. Meanwhile, Moss has stalked me. He's actually outside of my house with some binoculars, looking at the windows, being like, I'm gonna draw Jean perfect. Jean's gonna be so surprised. I don't know why I'm climbing Poop Mountain. Vavani, why is this your world? Why is there so much of this place? Can I tell you all an interesting fact about Germany? Yeah, exactly. Shall we have no? Oh no. We have no bed. Alright. So, all of you know about, World War II and the Cold War and everything, and for a period of time, Russia occupied parts of Germany and so did America. Well, Russia wanted to make sure its tanks could go wherever they wanted. And so what they did was they spent a lot of time, taking down trees and running tanks through drinking water and all sorts of things, and it really messed up the environment of Germany. Oh, good morning, Axie. Hexie, you're such a good girl. You are such a good girl, Hexie. Thank you for the redeem. But yeah, Russia really messed up a lot of the environment in Germany, and it's something that Germany has been trying to recover from for a long, long time. And here we go again. 1 second here, chat. Was I there? What do you mean, was I there? In Germany during the Cold War? No. What? I am white. I'm half German. No. And so, with that situation, my Germany has spent a lot of time trying to recover the environment, which, you know, it's been a bit difficult, but they ran into a situation where Anya, you'll never know. Okay, no, so I have hazel eyes and brown hair. Not blonde or blue eyes. I'll give you that much. Now where are we? Okay. Russia, Germany. So Germany, in an attempt to, fix the environment after Russia no longer occupied, brought in a lot of trees, and they brought a lot of stuff in to try to redo their forests. Well, you all might not know this, but to have a good, healthy forest, you need to have ground vegetation. Because you need to build up a layer of ground vegetation that'll then degrade and decay into a lovely mulch where fungi and other plants can grow. Germany brought in a bunch of trees, planted them in long, beautiful rows. You can still see a lot of these rows if you go out on walks to Germany. And instead of getting the right trees, they got like evergreens and a bunch of like needle trees that don't lose leaves or build up a nice little layer of leaves at the bottom. And so a lot of these forests never really grew back the way they wanted them, but they're still maintained very, very well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Stabilizes. It's a good word. Good morning, ex-Barbie. Oh, why were you summoned here? Hello, X. Thank you for the follow. I do greatly, greatly appreciate it. Mm-hmm. No, were you not here for it? Godless, thank you for the rain. And Hanks. Hanks. What was redeemed was this. You're such a good girl, Hanks. Such a good girl. Hi, Godless. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How was your stream? I think this might be the first time you raided into me. How was Baldur's Gate? Did you have fun? Good morning, Geeky Beach. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm very, very glad to hear that. Vanya, unfortunately, my fridge doesn't have much. Oh no, I do have 2 burgers in the fridge. You can have a burger. Well, lovely, lovely raiders. My name's LuckyJene. I'm a gambler, a rider, and a flirt. And if either of those things interest you, or any of those 3, please feel free to stick around. Call us if you need a raid and run, I totally understand. And lovely chatters, if you need to take a moment, go, eat some food, relax, do whatever you need to do, then feel free to do so. I will not hold it against you. I am a boy failure too, it's true, it's true. I am more boy failure than flirt these days. Thank you for the alert, okay? Good morning, Nia. You're late. By the way, Nia, small. But cute. No. Cookie dough crusted cheesecake. That sounds delicious. I would love a cookie dough cheesecake. Or a cookie. Wait, cookie dough? They asked me about the kind of steak I like. And I say I prefer something smaller. I like something that is, I'd rather have something that's high quality, but small, versus large, but a low quality. Do y'all want to know about my least favorite steak experience? I have this, and I feel so gypped about it constantly. In the States, we have a place called Texas Roadhouse, and it's known as a steak place. Kind of boring, honestly, but the bread is nice, and, getting to have it with all of your stuff is always pretty nice. And usually when you go to somewhere in the States, you don't get like a great steak, but you get like a pretty good steak. You don't really pick up the quality. Well, they also have the option to buy some of their higher quality steaks, so they do have different cuts of meat. And I did not realize, because nobody came by and asked me, that if you get the nicer cuts of meat, you're supposed to go and tell them which one of the steaks you want. I just wanted their nicest steak because, I had some money saved up and I ordered it. And I planned on tipping the bill to the waitress, however much the bill cost, I would also give to the waitress. And, well, the steak that I got was one of the least appetizing pieces of meat I've ever seen. Just not cooked very well, and just very gristly. And overall, including like tip, for one person, I spent over $100 on that meal. And I'm still mad about it because I still paid the waitress. I still gave the waitress the full thing. That was the goal. I think it was like a $50 bill, and I tipped her another $50. But Texas Roadhouse, I've never been back. This was just too much, especially for the price. Like the marbling was awful. Nia, you behave yourself. And you too, Vanya, you two know better. There was a fox. Now my best meat experience. Oh, I know it's not. But that is too tangential. Feeds foxberries. Can I have... Will the fox follow me if I feed the foxberries? Is that how you tame foxes? Or does the fox just exist? Do I have bone? No bone. Try we can't leave the poop forest yet. I think we're finally escaping the poop forest. What was I talking about? Oh, good meat experience though. I don't know if any of you have ever been to a Brazilian steakhouse, but those are incredible. I love those so very much. You go in and they sit you down and they give you either a little sign or a little card. And they say, if you want more, good morning, Andres. How you doing, Andres? That's fair. That's fair, yeah. Oh, want me to feed a foxy? I'll see if I can feed a fox. Oh, no, so... Envy, good morning, good... Envy! Envy! Hello, Envy. Is this your first time here? Envy, what were you doing? Good morning, good morning, good morning. We're doing a little ASMR Minecraft. My category is set, right? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, everybody. Please, 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 please go check out Envy. You can see them both on the Twitter, and not Twitter, sorry, you can see them on TikTok or Twitch. They are very lovely. They have a very cute model, a lovely voice as well. Different spectrum than my voice. And they are... I like their content a lot. I remember back when they were doing little videos talking about a job they had. I think those were the first ones I saw. But please go check them out. And yes, hardcore. Which I know what you're thinking. Gene, how are you doing calm, relaxing ASMR with a hardcore game? Fight me. 1v1. Let's go. But I was... Okay, I also envy if you need a raid and run. Please do so. I totally understand. But if you want to hang out, you can do that as well. And to all you lovely, lovely raiders, hi. My name's LuckyJene. I'm a gambler, a rider, and a flirt. And I hope you have a lovely time here. If you need to go take a break, relax, eat some food or whatever, please feel free to do so. Lurking is always optional, and I hope you all enjoy your time here. And you too, Envy, if you need to raid and run, feel free to do so. Mm-hmm. I know, I saw that one as well. Actually, you're the reason why I keep asking chat what biome they want me to build in. Because I saw that you were saying that every time you do it, you choose a different biome to try to start in. And you made a little jungle place on the river. Mm-hmm. Speaking of chat, what biome should we try to find this time? Oh, shiny, shiny, whatever. You're such a good bean. Such a good bean. Thank you for the redeem. Dark oak. We can do dark oak. We'll do dark oak then. The dark forest. Oh, we're not doing Sakura again. I want to make you build in the beach biome. You good pro. Yes, chat, that is how you talk to somebody you don't know with their pronouns. You just go to them and say, "You're such a good pronoun. Such a good pronoun." That feels like such a, sounds like my dad trying to talk to somebody in this day and age. You're such a good flags in bio. Speaking of chat, if you would like to know pronouns of anybody, there's always a pronoun redeem. And for those curious, I go by he, they. You accept cues over pronoun. Yes, thank you for the redeem, Vanya. Hello, lovely chat. My name's Gene and I go by he, they. What pronouns do you use? Crown for chat. I do not bully people. I have never bullied anybody in my life. I also don't believe in gaslighting. It just sounds like something you made up. That your friends told you about. God, is it those other streamers again, chat? Have you been watching other streamers? You gotta stop listening to them when they come up with these crazy things. No, you totally go. I hope you sleep very well. Good night, Envy. Thank you for coming by. Genuinely. No, they're not always this chill. I guarantee if you come in the evening or the afternoon, I'm a lot more chaotic and energetic. You're not always. When are you not shitposting, Vanya? Don't lie to people. Good morning, Rama Babat. How you doing? eBay. We've talked about that before, Fire. Oh, that sounds awful. Oh, sounds getting loopy, guy. Yes, I stream twice every day. I stream for about 2 hours in the morning from 3:30 a.m. to 5:30. And then from 4 to 6, though, I think the flock might tell me that I need to be streaming longer in the evenings. We'll see what the flock has to say. The flock is a collection of eldritch beings that I speak to in seeking advice on streaming. Catalyst. Thank you for the praise, Redeem. You're very kind and sweet, very lovely, and you're always such a pleasure to have in these streams, Collist. I'm very happy you found yourself a space here that you feel comfortable enough in to keep returning. And just know that I think you're doing great. You're doing absolutely amazing, sweetie. And as long as you keep going and keep it up, things will only get better for you, I promise. Thank you so much for the redeem, Collist. And there's the praise. Sir, your house is on fire. Do you know your house is on fire? Do you want to maybe not let your house... I'm sure you're... Oh. Sir, I'm gonna rob you because your house is on fire and we don't want to lose any valuables, but like... Why would you build next to active lava? Atomic games? You mean like dating sims? I would totally play dating sims. Yeah. No reason not to. Thank you for the sub, Shiny. I really, really appreciate it. And welcome to the menagerie. There was actually a plan for me to play Hatoful Boyfriend with Keeper at some point. I do know Love in Deep Space. I've played it before. Why are you gonna mush up my dumb dog brain? I don't know what that means. Why would you mush up my brain? Alright, chat, fine, but you have to take a guess. Who do you think my favorite of the boys are? And who do I hate? There's only one of them that I don't like. No, Silas is not my favorite. He's okay. I don't hate you, Crucified. I don't hate anybody in real life. No, I do not hate Raphael. My favorite is Raphael. And yes, the fish guy. I like his energy. The one that I don't like has the least personality. He's just so boring and milquetoast. No, not Zane. Zane's fine. I do hate Xavier. Because Xavier has, like, no personality. Who's John? As in you, John? Or is there a character in there named John? No, I don't hate you. You're pretty good, John. you're not in Love in Deep Space though. Exactly. He's made out to be to anyone. Can you add yourself into Love in Deep Space? You what? I don't. Lovelies, lovelies, lovelies. I don't hate anybody. How could I? Morning, Shum. How you been? Been a little bit. No, I never played with Caleb. He wasn't around when I played. No, I forgot to turn on my AC this morning. Doing better. How about you? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, John. I hope things pick up for you. All right, Ika. I only speak the truth. Hello, Lynx. Hey, I intentionally was not going to point that out, but Nia's the one who brought it up. That was my first message of the morning, by the way. I see that you messaged me at 3, the earliest I would wake up. So the first thing I'd see in the morning was Nia going, "Hey, Gene, important question." Well, you know how that goes, right, chat? Someone's like, "I need to do this. I need to ask you something important," and you're like, "Oh shit, what's going on? Let me figure this out." And then it turns out, if I had a ding dong, do you think it'd be small or big? Good morning, Chico Frio. How you doing? Twitch recommended the stream. Well, I hope you enjoy your time here. Bigger and prettier than yours. I'm not having this conversation, Nia. Not right. We're not. We're not comparing fictional PP sizes on stream. And they are not crucified. Even a person who's attracted to men will agree to that. I wish you the best luck, John. I wish you the best luck. Depending on where you are, that's illegal and they can't do that. They have to at least wait out until your contracted period is done, if you're contracted, or the month out if you've paid for the entire month. If you've not paid for the entire month, then that is the only other option. Night, Chico. Enjoy the lurk, chub. Yeah. Oh, that's fair. Can't really do much there for you. Always have been. Oh, hey, look, a cat. I want a cat. Sure. Hello, baby girl. Well, hopefully you thrive under this pressure as well. I believe in you. When don't I wink? Thank you for the follow. And welcome to the menagerie. We still haven't found the dark oak, by the way, chat. Sag. Cheers. This new world's okay. I think it'll be nicer when we finally find home. Of course you'll be okay. I know you'll be okay. You've got this. And things will get better. As long as you hold out. Sure. Yeah, give me little updates from time to time. I'm curious about people's lives. Fish, 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 come here. Come here, fishy, fishy, fish, come here. Come here, come here, come here, come here. I'm the best at hunting, chat. You don't even know. Yeah, fishy, 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 fishy. Come here. Why do easy when hard way work? Why'd I do anything? That's the first thing I thought of. That's fair. You do you, crucified. Alright, chat, I have fish. There are 7 fish. I don't know how many fish I need for a cat. And so now, we're gonna see if I can get a cat. No meowing, chat. Don't you dare start meowing. Not again. Oh no, not this again. No, why? You know, people are gonna come in here and be like, oh, clearly he's a cat. And they won't believe me. They won't believe me. They'll just see all the cat noises. They'll be like, he must be a cat. Just because my ears are short doesn't mean anything, okay? Chad, if you were a cat, I'd leave out a bowl of milk for you. And it'd give you tummy troubles. Short ear energy, Carnio. Wow. Wow. Gene. Wow. I meant to say chat, but instead I said cat, and then I referred to myself. I'm good. I'm not talking anymore, chat. We're done. Why am I talking to myself? Out of all the things I could have called out, Gene was the one that probably. I mean, just imagine, chat. You're talking to somebody and you say your own name. What then? No. Nobody. There was a cat here. Where'd the cat go? Dang. Thank you for the stretch. 1 second. Thank you for the hydrate. Which one of you stole the cat, by the way? Which one of you took the cat? There's the cat. Okay, come here, kitty, 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 kitty. Come here, kitty. Oh, shit, I'm so good with it. Oh, yeah, but I need to see me, don't I? Here, kitty, 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 kitty. Come to me. Where's he going? He. It's not working. Sneak, sneak, sneak. Sneak, 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 sneak. No, come back, kitty. I'm getting so aggressively ignored. That cat hates me. Of course you can get some comfort food. You don't need my permission for that. Why would you ever need permission? Come on, come on. Don't go that way. Come on, come back here. Please go get some junk food. Take care of yourself. Let me love you, cat. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Farhawk, what pronouns do you use? Come on, kitty, 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 kitty. Farhawk, what pronouns do you use? Or would you like me to call you? I'm not too stinky, chat. I haven't showered yet, but I smell fine. Stop leaving me, kitty, please. Please stop leaving me, kitty. Alright, Firehawk. You're such a good boy. Such a good boy. There's no. Don't tell me that the cat has a preference in a certain kind of fish. That's not a thing, is it? Cat, I will feed this food down your throat. Alright. Psst, 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 psst. Psst, psst, psst. What do you mean the cat slept on me? And brought me a rabbit hide? I love you forever. Do you want more fish? You can have all the fish in the world. Or you can live in the dark forest, no chat. Thank you for the follow, Potato Camps. How you doing? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Chat, stop meowing. Just because you pretend to be a cat does not mean I'm going to let you sleep in the pen. You'll get the floor and you'll be happy for it. What's up, bud? Do you want more fish? You know more fish. Okay, well, Crucified gets to live in the box room. Everybody else gets the floor. Ugh, fine. I will send blankets to the basement, chat. It's fine. You'll have that at least. But yes, thank you so much for the follow-up, Down Kips. How you doing? You're allowed back on my walls. Oh. Do you wanna maybe? Can you get in the boat? Do you wanna get in the boat? Get in the boat, kitty. Kitty. Hi, up, Elmo. Yeah, I thought the cat would just always follow me. Doesn't the cat just always follow me? Like, he'll catch up like the dogs do. But dogs teleport. Thank you so much for the follow. Are you telling me the cats don't teleport? Thank you for the hydrate. Camilla, how are you doing today? Who's a good kitty? G8. G8. You're such a good girl. Such a good girl. Thank you so much for the redeem. What is that redeem? Let me read it. Don't hide from me, sweetheart. I can see your black lace underneath it. Be a good girl and show me. You look so good in your disheveled state in my bed. There you go. Thank you for the can you say redeem. As requested. What? What's wrong? Why are your hands shaking? You okay? Make sure you're getting enough iron. Yeah, Vanya, they would not have survived 2024. Oh. Well, take care of yourselves, lovelies. That's fair. I'm also not prepared for the day. Of course, I go. Thank you for the redeem. It was fun. Now, where on earth could that darn orc be? How stressful this is. Good morning, Sleepy Jenny. How you doing? Oh, well, I hope I can be good for your insomnia. Make sure that you get nice and relaxed here. And we'll make sure everything's alright for you. I can't believe we still haven't found any dark oak yet, chat. I don't know if Echo is in the Discord, are they? You like my voice? I'm glad you do. Are you sleepy? You don't have to be good at writing English. You try, that's all that matters. Kitty, stay here. I'll be right back for you. Mm. Mm-hmm. Do I already have one? I do. I don't need another one. shiny. For those of you who are staying awake just to come spend time with me, well, I really do appreciate it. I'd prefer if you took care of yourself. I'm sorry, Chet, we have 2 cats now. I don't think we can leave this area. No. We might just have to live here now, Chat. No, what a cutie. Hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Alright, Chet, I have an idea. So here's the goal. We're gonna try to find a leash. And if we can find a leash, I think we can maybe drag another boat along. Or maybe if we find a dark forest, we can make a train to the dark forest to bring both of them along. No, I'm not abandoning the cats. I just wanted to see what this was. Curse of Vanishing. What does that do? Oh, if I die, it disappears. So, it doesn't do anything. Alright, we're gonna go grab the other cat. Jen, I just had an idea. Does this give me string? Oh, it gives me spiderweb. Can I use spiderweb for anything? I don't want cobweb. Interesting. Hello, kitty. Morning, Gibbons. How'd you sleep? I hope you've slept well. Oh. You know what? Why not? We'll live here for now. I like this area. Kinda cute. We'll fix up some of these houses here. Glad to hear, glad to hear. Oh, burn them down. Good morning, Zebra. No. Fish, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He's okay, he's okay. Good morning, Pinky. How you doing, sweetie? Can we get a shout out for the lovely, lovely Pinky, please? I'm doing well. Good morning, Nora. What do you mean HSR? Oh, you mean your stream, got you. You have to actually run a stream, Vanya, for it to change. No. Hey, you all behave yourselves. Wait, since when can I make this? Since when can you make a bow with a chest? Are you kidding me? That's been an option this entire time? Thank you. Thank you, Allie. I think it's a nice little spot, too. We'll fix up little houses and make things nice. Hi, Seth. Lovely to meet you. Can I say, Sif is the goat. Mwah. No, I haven't made them available yet. Stinky chat. How'd you get in? I'll get another bed for you. Give me a second. Alright, cat, where'd the cats go? Oh, there you are. How you doing, sweetie? You know what? They need more space. Chad, I live for these cats now. We have to actually make things nice now. Damn. I don't hate you, Vanya. Enjoy your learning. You weren't nerding out too much. Why? You've nothing to apologize for. Nothing at all. Chad, if you weren't allowed to be a nerd, then I wouldn't be allowed to be here either. Y'all my favorite nerds. Y'all my favorite nerds. They both crawl up in bed, chat. And they keep killing things during the night. Chat, they're just like you, bringing me the corpses. Mm-hmm. They brought me a lucky rabbit's foot. Would you look at that? Is there anything I can do with a rabbit's foot? Potion. Potion. Potion of leaping. Gotcha. What do you mean have a Minecraft thing? Like a server? I've thought about it. I have thought about it, Chad. I really don't have the money for it right now. Maybe one day. Hmm. No, I will only add Hero Brian, sorry. I know they've unadded Hero Brian, but I actually went back and hacked the game and added it back to the code. So yeah. Good morning, I'm Goku's wifey. How you doing? Look, I just thought y'all needed to be cursed by Herobrine. What, did you tell me you did not want to get cursed by Herobrine? Why is that? Well, maybe it's the thing you discuss with your wife. You can't blame Herobrine for your wife being like that. Have fun at work. Doink. Enjoy going to that. Oh, are you looking for something specific? The only one that I have right now is Discord. And Twitter is Real LuckyJene. I didn't think about having a link like that, chat. Why, it might be. Oh, I do have a throne. It's underneath the stream. Here, we'll grab the link for the throne if you'd like to see it. I do have a TikTok, I just really don't use it. Vanya, right, Pinky, don't you mean, don't help me like this. Don't help me like this, Pinky. Oh, look, chat, the link worked. Isn't that so cool? Isn't that so cool that the link worked? That's so cool, right? God, I'm so glad the link worked. And it worked the first time. Thank you. This place is adorable. Seriously, this place is adorable. That's totally okay. Like, I love this. I think it's just better because the cats are here too. I'm gonna make this into a secret space, chat. Yeah, we're gonna work on getting chickens up. Get your chickens up, chat. Don't get your money up, get your chickens up. Do you think the chickens will eat berries? Chicken, do you want berries? No. They don't want berries. Chickens don't eat. Chat, are you chickens? Chat, have you been chickens this entire time? Chat, if you were chickens, you would tell me, right? No. Stop being. No, you're not allowed to be chickens. Aika, eat the chickens quickly. Mm. Eat the chickens. Hey, new boat chat. Where's my boat? No boat. New boat. No, what'd you eat? What gave you heartburn, sweetie? I see a cave, chat. Oh, try sleeping on the other side. Oh, you burned his heart. Oh, darling. Do you like sweetie? He took my boat. Chad the skeleton took my boat. He just lives in the boat now. Reparo, real one. More mineral criminal, exactly. I can't believe he took my boat. This area is so cool though, chat. I mean, look at this. Thank you for the follow, new femboy from Sweden. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Mm-hmm. Pinky, stop speaking made-up languages. That's a good idea, that's a good idea. Shiny. You're such a bad bean. Such a bad bean. Get your sleep. Not Pinky calling me sir. Sweetie, you don't have to call me sir. Gina's fine. Goofy. I love my kitties. Hi, puppy girl. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you so much for the follow. We're so getting comfy here. Oh, I'm glad. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, lovelies, we have only about 5 minutes left on stream. I do so apologize for that. Especially for all you lovely newbies who are just now coming in. Oh, I know, I know. But you know how it goes. One day I won't have to work, and I'll stay here a lot longer. Why is the kitty staring at the rock? Kitty, do you like that rock? Was the rock night? Do you need like a picture? Oh. No, Kitty, there's a rock there. Kitty, you can't get up there. There's a rock there. You see it? No. No, Kitty, you don't fit there. Stop bouncing. You, what do you, don't lick the rock. Stop rubbing your, okay. That's fair, that's fair. Oh. Well, chat, that means for now, we're gonna have to call the stream here. We'll be back today, 4 p.m. MST, as we always are. Maybe earlier, maybe earlier. I have started doing a little bit of earlier streams. I may start doing 3-hour evening streams. We'll see what the flock has to say. It was lovely finding you as well. But if the flock agrees that it's the better option, then we will definitely go do that. Now. Oh, how's Hoshi doing? Let's go take a look at Hoshi real quick. We might raid into Hoshi. I just need to make sure that they're being chill today. Unfortunately, I have a massive advertisement. Which is so insane. What is this advertisement? Why is it just music? Perfect. Okay. I don't think I've ever had a chance to raid into Hoshi, but Hoshi's raided into me, chat, so we're paying it back, we're paying it forward. Alright, lovelies. Grab you that lucky raid. And we're gonna go raid out. Thank you all for being here as always. I had a very, very lovely stream with you. And I hope for all you new people that I see you again, and for all of you that have been here for a while. It's always nice to see you. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Bye, lovelies.